Hey everybody, it's me, Will.
And me, Kristen. We just wanted to let you know that tonight, if you're listening live, Friday, November 15th, we are doing a cool hangout, just chill cast at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on youtube.com/gttupod, and we hope you can join us.
Yes, so that's literally this evening as this episode drops for the first time. This is our 7th anniversary of doing the show.
Yeah.
The most magical number of all, our magical birthday.
Yeah, so we're having a birthday party. You are invited to it.
Totally laid back, going to be playing some games, some Jackbox games. So watch us on something and have a phone or tablet ready so that you can join in and play with us, because you can literally play with us from home. We're going to watch some public domain horror, only the weirdest possible stuff. And I've got some real freak show stuff to share with everybody.
Yeah, wear your jammies, order some pizza. That's what we're doing. And join us and just hang out for a goofy chill night.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody, enjoy the show and hopefully see you tonight.
Bye.
Someone came down to the basement where some creep was making David the Gnome and went, "Whoa, whoa!
What's going on down here?
Cease all production."
Yeah, this isn't right.
This ain't right.
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we bring to you frivolity.
Yes,
We
stupidity.
bring to you silliness.
Yes.
We're decompressing this month.
Yes. There's a lot going on in the world.
Yeah.
We felt like everybody needed some stupidity, and so...
On the heels of a very serious month last month with Scaremuto.
I know. It's so funny to me that you were like, it'd be nice to have some like fun and something stupid around the election. It's like, well, we just did a whole month of Scaremuto. How much dumber can it get? But here we are. We're going to talk about teeny little weenies, a.k.a. some gnomes.
Yes.
That you may or may not have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do want to acknowledge a couple of historic things for us, if you would forgive me.
Of course.
One is that this episode is dropping on November 15th, 2024. And that means that it is our 7th birthday.
Yeah.
Guide to the Unknown started November 15th, 2017. This is way to go. We've been doing this for 7 years.
I know, not bad.
The most powerful magical number.
Of course.
And so happy birthday to you and to everybody out there.
Yes, happy birthday, everyone.
But also, happy big birthday to our dad, Richard Rogers, who on this day in 1934 was born.
That's right.
Meaning if he were alive today, he'd be turning 90.
Yep.
Our father would be 90 years old today.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's the 90th anniversary of that man existing ever. And I don't know, not to be too mushy, we'll get stupid, but I loved him. There's a reason why we picked to launch the show on his birthday. I think we found a little bit of fun in that.
Yeah, totally.
And so happy 90th birthday to Dad.
Happy birthday, Dad. He's the ultimate caboodler pop.
The ultimate caboodler plop. Yes, we have caboodler plop, if you don't know. So gnomes, I guess, are called cabooders.
Yeah.
Somewhere else in the world.
Part of why, well, actually not part of why we chose this topic was that I was trying to think of stupid things from the past that we've really enjoyed. And there was an episode really early on, like I think maybe before episode 10, where I covered something called caboodler plop.
Yes.
And that really tickled us.
Oh, it was a kids' TV show, I think in like Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a little bit of the caboodler plop theme song, and we got
a copyright violation.
We got a copyright violation. The internet like screamed. They were like, "Thou shalt not play caboodler plop."
We were in huge trouble.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But so yeah, caboodler plop. We're back, and Dad is the ultimate caboodler. Love you, Pop.
Love you, caboodler pop.
Caboodler pop.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stupidity awaits us. Is on the horizon, and maybe some darkness as well.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
But we'll get into that after this commercial break. Would you like to speak of your darkness first or mine?
Sure, I'll speak of my darkness. So, I was going to cover and am, I guess a little bit, this comic strip that I found out about called The Teeny Weenies.
Yeah. It was too alluring. The name Teeny Weenies seemed like a surefire hit.
How could we not?
You're looking for dumb stuff to talk about on the show. You see a type of gnome called a teeny weenie.
It seemed like
Yeah.
open and shut case, basically.
Yeah.
But when I looked into it further, I found that this was a comic strip that ran from the late 1800s to the 70s. There wasn't like a whole ton of info on it that was really, really interesting. And a lot of it had super racist characters.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to ditch the teeny weenies because my main topic, David the Gnome, had a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Pushed the teeny weenies right out.
Yeah.
But
Shove off Teeny Weenies. I don't think we're going to be rebooting the Teeny Weenie franchise anytime soon.
I don't think so. But I told Will I was bumping it, and Will was like, wait, no. But I'm calling the episode Teeny Little Weenies.
This has
You
been
have
the
to
only thing.
remark upon it.
It's the only thing that's been keeping me going.
Right, speak on it.
The idea of being able to name one of our episodes Teeny Little Weenies.
Right.
It felt like it had potential to be up there with Brownies and Daniel Stern. Remember our episode
great-
Teeny Little Weenies?
It's a great
Toilet monsters?
name. But so I was like, no, you're right. It's a great name. So I pulled up the Wikipedia page. I'm mentioning this because this is not going to be off the cuff. This is me reading from the Wikipedia page, which will be linked in the show notes. Here is the deal with the teeny little weenies. Excuse me, the teeny weenies, while omitting the horrible racist caricatures that it invoked during the time.
Yeah.
This comic strip ran for over 50 years, first appearing in the Chicago Tribune, and it consisted of normal-sized objects intermingled with tiny protagonists. That sounds great. The comic strip characters were 2 inches tall and lived under a rose bush. Again, sounds great, but one of the hallmarks of the comic strip was that it named characters after their most defining characteristics to the comic strip authors, illustrators, whatever. And at this time, those defining characteristics were visual, racist, not good.
Exclusively their races, never a chill word.
No.
So Kristen rightfully backed out. So Teeny Weenies, inexplicably, is not delightful in the least.
No, it seemed like it was going to be great, but
Cartoon.
had to back right out. Here are some of the, I'll tell you some of the things that when I was just at a glance looking at it and went, oh, this sounds great, that jumped out to me. Here are some just like little, what is this under? Characters. So there's a character named Belle Baby Belle, and it says that there was one shot appearance as a subject of a poem. Cry, 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 baby Belle. Went to sleep in a peanut shell.
Oh, okay, I like that.
That sounds good
Went
to
to sleep
me.
in a peanut shell. That's how tiny she was.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. What was another one? There was a giant named Patty Pin.
Okay.
I guess that was some sort of antagonist to the teeny weenies, you know?
It's like the Gargamel
if
to
there's
the Smurfs.
a giant around.
Yeah.
Even as I'm going, I'm seeing words that I don't like.
I'm
so
content.
Let's get out of
I'm
here.
content to bail on the Teeny Weenies. I just wanted to at least justify naming the show Teeny Little Weenies.
Yeah, I think it's important that we do that.
Would you like to hear about my darkness?
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah. So, one of the topics that I had picked, because I didn't see any problems on the horizon at all, I picked the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah.
The Willy Wonka Oompa Loompas. Kristen, what's your history with the Oompa Loompas?
I read, I guess, Willy Wonka.
Which edition?
Oh, I know.
You didn't read a first edition Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, did you?
Highly doubt it. I mean, I know I have a lot of old references, but I don't think I got my hands on a first edition in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I read the book and I saw the movie.
Okay.
And I don't
Do
have
you like the
strong
movie?
ties. I don't know. I'm kind of repelled by the movie. As an adult, I would say mostly repelled. As a child, I was intrigued and repelled.
That's a great way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree with you. I think I was intrigued and repelled.
Yeah.
By the Gene Wilder movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked and then growing up, I liked the idea that it was kids dying.
Yeah, it's a crazy movie.
The thing that attracted me most was,
Of course.
the child murder.
Who isn't attracted by that?
I know, but then when I found out that they weren't dying, I sort of was like, well, how toothless is this?
Do
Do you know that like in the
It's for
Johnny Depp
kids.
one, like they see, I can't tell if this is darker or safer, that like when Charlie's floating up in the great glass elevator, he looks down and he can see all the kids leaving the chocolate factory, but each of them has been transformed by the experience. So like
God.
Mike TV is tiny. Veruca Salt, or no, Violet Beauregard gets squeezed. She goes to the juicing room.
Yes, yeah.
Because she blows up to the size of a big grape thing, and then they take her to the
Blueberry.
squeezing room. When she leaves, she's like flat as a pancake,
Ew.
and like she looks like remember when didn't they run over Christopher Lloyd with a steamroller in Roger Rabbit?
Roger Rabbit, yes.
And then he comes up like flat as a pancake.
Now, that's a messed up movie.
That's messed up. But
Talk about intrigued and repelled.
oh, I know that. Yes, I was definitely intrigued and repelled.
Yeah.
By Who Killed Roger Rabbit, framed Roger Rabbit. But yeah, Violet Beauregard in the Johnny Depp version is like flat, like as if she's not a human anymore.
Yeah.
And
They
I can't
put her
tell
through,
if
like, a
that's like,
press.
yeah, I can't tell if that's like, well, at least they're not dead, or if it's like, oh my God, it's worse than death
I know.
that all these people are like
I don't know
totally
either.
disfigured.
I don't know either.
Anyway, so
What's your history with the Oompa Loompas?
I hate this shit. I think I'm on board with you being like I'm intrigued and repelled by the Gene Wilder one because of Gene Wilder,
Yeah.
who had a magnetic quality to
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
But if I'm being totally honest, even though I know that that movie is beloved, I hated Charlie Bucket. I hated that kid.
yeah, me too.
I did not like that performer, and I know it's not nice to say, but I really did not like watching him, and he was our main character.
I feel the same.
I hated Grandpa Joe, who I viewed. I know that like the haha thing today is like, well, he was laying in bed,
Yeah.
until he found out that they got the golden ticket. Now he's dancing. What have you been doing, Grandpa Joe? But like, I always found the man gross and like kind of like domineering and
There's
uncomfortable.
something weird.
I didn't
know.
like Charlie being alone with his grandpa going to the factory. Everything felt unsafe and gross.
Yeah.
And the Oompa Loompas, I thought, were weird. Like, beyond weird,
Yes.
not delightfully weird. I was like, they come out and sing a song every time one of these kids gets
No, like,
murdered.
what's wrong with them?
What is this?
Yeah.
So I found out what the answer is, and it didn't do anything to make me feel better. In fact, it made me feel worse.
Right. Isn't it like a slavery thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it's even worse than you think.
Uh-oh.
So not only does the original Roald Dahl book talk about how he, quote unquote, imported the Oompa Loompas to work in his factory where he pays them in cocoa beans.
God.
In the original editions of the book, the Oompa Loompas were not Loompas.
Loopers.
Oompa Loompas were not magical gnome creatures. They were quote unquote African pygmies.
You know what? As you were saying that, I remembered the word pygmies. I've read this before. Yes.
Not good.
No.
Not good.
No.
And
I think
even
a
when
lot
he
of
finally
Roald Dahl is not good.
Really? I don't know
Yeah.
much about Roald Dahl.
I don't
know.
really either, but this is all ringing a bell. I think a lot of I don't know. I shouldn't besmirch without knowing, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of not good there.
Yeah, I don't know. But what I do know is that even when he finally crumbled to the societal pressure to change the Oompa Loompas, and now they're like from Loompa Land and they're magical creatures or whatever, like still people were like, well, but wait a minute, it's still Willy Wonka taking them and making them work in his factory. Like there still is an
Is he paying them a
indentured
living
servitude.
wage now?
No,
Or they're still being paid in cocoa
they're
beans?
still being paid in cocoa beans. It's sick, I tell
Yeah.
you, sick. Willy Wonka had this to say. You only had to mention the word. Who should I impersonate? Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp?
Gene Wilder, please.
Because you said that, I'm gonna do Johnny Depp.
Damn it. Ew.
You only had to mention the word cocoa to an Oompa Loompa, and they would start dribbling at the mouth.
Ew.
So it's like black.
Well, I guess they love cocoa then.
He does.
Maybe he's meeting them where they're at.
Well, Kristen, why are you on the side of protecting
It's
Willy
sad.
Wonka?
If what he's
Are you being paid by Big Wonka?
I am.
I don't like that.
If we're to take it at face value, but I shouldn't trust him.
This from theconversation.com. A messianic figure, Wonka believes he has rescued the Oompa Loompas from certain death. Saving his tiny helpers from near starvation, he offers them shelter from their predators, the Snozwangers and Wangdoodles. So he's like, I
The
took
key
them.
word is he believes.
He believes he took them to help them. Now, this was also an interesting analysis of the situation. The novel reflects cultural anxieties that emerged in the United Kingdom in the 1960s when the labor market opened to citizens from India and the Caribbean. Grandpa Joe, a former Wonka employee who is laid off, represents the concerns of white British workers who saw immigrants as rivals for what they believed were rightfully white British jobs.
Oh my God.
So, like,
Yeah, it's a whole.
and Willy Wonka's the guy we like?
Right.
When the factory reopens with a secret workforce, here's an exchange between Charlie and his grandpa.
Oh.
Charlie says, "But there must be people working there." Grandpa Joe says, Not people, Charlie. Not ordinary people, anyway."
Well,
Grandpa Joe's a horse's ass.
yeah, seriously.
So,
Treat them with respect.
I know, put some respect
They're
on the
making
Loompa
the
name.
chocolate that you love so.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
I did think, though, it never occurred to me, I didn't know this at least, that Grandpa Joe used to work at the factory.
No, me
And he's
either.
like, I was laid off and the Oompa Loompas took my job and now he's like radicalized to hate them or something.
Yeah.
That's the plot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That they're like, well, we used to work in the butcher shops, but when they got the pneumatic cow killers, we were out of work. We were hungry. We had to eat each other.
My God.
It's like the same plot, Willy Wonka and
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw.
This is terrifying.
So the 1971 movie, the Gene Wilder one, was the first one to fix this. Now the Oompa Loompas are from Loompa Land, but they're quote-unquote transported rather than imported. And I'm not sure if that's any better.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, this
I
article,
guess it implies a willingness.
I guess. In this article, they still do analyze the power dynamic between Wonka as a factory owner and the Oompa Loompas as his exploited workforce. This is about
There
where
are questions to be asked.
This is about where I was like, I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
And this is where I reveal to you, I bailed on the Oompa Loompas.
That's fine.
I stopped looking into it because I didn't like the time I was spending. I didn't like it.
If you're not going to like it, it's not going to be very interesting. You know, you have to feel out what's going to be interesting to talk about for our listeners to listen to.
I did not foresee the darkness of the Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
And so weirdly, the topic of Oompa Loompas felt too serious and sad to me to continue.
Who needs
So
it?
I don't even get into the fact that the Oompa Loompas in the Johnny Depp movie are played by Deep Roy,
Yes.
an Indian performer who is like digitally
remember
cloned
that.
throughout the film. I'm not even going to tell you about the new Wonka movie with Timothée Chalamet, where there is only one Oompa Loompa and he's played by Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
His name is Lofty. And I think that it's interesting, and somebody could do a paper on this or like maybe teach a college class about like the Oompa Loompa starting as a racist caricature and then culminating in an affluent white British man.
Yeah, there's something.
There's something there.
Yeah.
But also evidently, and I didn't see it and I won't see it, the new Timothée Chalamet movie concludes with justice for the humble Oompa Loompa because Lofty, Hugh Grant, Lofty, ends up founding the chocolate factory with Willy.
Really?
Equity. It's horseshit.
That's
It's bullshit.
important.
And of course, there was Willy's chocolate experience. Willy McDuff's
Well, of course, there's that.
experience.
Yeah, do Oompa Loompas even factor into that?
They do, because there was that meth Oompa Loompa. Remember who was
Oh,
like
right.
surrounded by bubbling tubes?
Yeah.
She was played by Kirsty Patterson, but she couldn't legally be called an Oompa Loompa, so she was known as a Wonka Doodle.
Yeah.
But she became known as the meth Oompa Loompa.
That was wild.
And she basically was just portraying an Oompa Loompa who looked perpetually sad.
We have an episode about that if you flip back through our feed.
As sad as I feel.
Yeah.
Researching the
Disgusting.
Oompa Loompa.
It's devastating.
Listen, I also had this thing in me where I was like, well, I can't ignore that I've seen this information about the Oompa Loompa.
Of course.
What am I to do?
Of course.
So I told you what I was willing to tell you, but I seriously, I literally was like, I don't want to look at this anymore.
This is making me feel bad and terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was out.
Well, I can bring us back up a little bit with David the Gnome.
Please.
Okay. Many surprising things about David the Gnome to me.
Tell me your history with David the Gnome.
I loved David the Gnome when I was a kid. Loved. So David the Gnome was a cartoon.
What is a gnome?
What is a gnome? It's a little forest humanoid creature.
It's just a little
Yeah.
earthy
That
thing.
lives among the animals.
And they're usually teeny tiny.
Yeah, I have some facts about how big at least David the Gnome and his wife are. Let me see.
Well, we know what she's capable of holding.
Oh, we certainly do. So part of my history with David the Gnome is that at some point our parents got David the Gnome toys for me, and his wife's hands were perfectly set out from her body, just like, perpendicular from her body, and I could perfectly place a combo between her hands, and I pretended that she was holding a loaf of bread.
I cannot tell you.
And I loved it.
I cannot tell you how many times I've tried to find that David the Gnome toy for you.
Because of this, I was looking and I couldn't find anything that honestly didn't even rang a bell. I Googled David the Gnome toys and I was looking at them and I was like, none of these bring up anything in me like, oh, I had that. I don't know.
No.
So so I watched the first episode of David the Gnome to report back on. And in that, David explains a bunch of gnome facts. And one of them is that he's 6 inches high and 11 ounces.
Does that count the hat?
I don't think so.
Okay, 6 inches without the hat.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Guessing. So yeah, they live among the animals in the forest. This was a cartoon. It aired on Nickelodeon from 1988 to I think it was 1995 on
Wow.
Nick Jr. during the day.
7 seasons.
Yeah.
7 seasons in a movie?
Well, actually, I mean, it's not even 7 seasons. There are only 26 episodes of it altogether.
What?
So they just played the same 26 episodes over and over again for 7 years.
You can get away with that with a kid because their brains aren't developed.
Totally. So I was just like,
Any memory I have of David the Gnome is like the fuzziest, foggiest memory. I remember watching it on TV, but like I just remember a house at the base of a tree.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe it. Maybe he rode a squirrel once.
Yeah, he rides all kinds of animals.
Okay.
Yep. So it was actually a Spanish show that was dubbed in English. And it started airing in 1988, like I said. And the Spanish company that made it was called BRB Internacional. And the show was based on a Dutch book series called The Secret Book of Gnomes by Will Huygen. BRB International also made other shows that sound like they kick ass, such as Dogtanian and the Three Muskehounds,
Whoa.
Bobo Bobs, and Around the World with Willie Fogg.
Oh.
They sound like they kick ass.
Okay.
So yeah, it's absurd to me that there were only ever 26 episodes of it. I was shocked by that. And there was actually a spin-off series called The Wisdom of the Gnomes, which also ran for 26 episodes. Was this like a thing?
Well, gnomes do appear to be a real thing. Now, I know that you were saying this is a Spanish show?
Yeah.
I think Europeans like gnomes.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're hot for gnomes.
No, they for sure are.
They like them.
It definitely is a thing. But why the 26 episodes?
I don't know.
It's surprising to me. That show, The Secret, what is it called? Wisdom of the Gnomes, was about, this is a quote from Wikipedia, Klaus, a judge who travels with his assistant Danny on Henry the Swan and aims to solve disputes and lawsuits between animals peacefully and wisely.
I like that.
That sounds great.
I like that.
I wish that had come over to Nick Jr.
Me too. So there could be like a snake and a swan that are in a domestic squabble.
That's right. And Klaus and Danny are going to try to solve that dispute peacefully and wisely.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Will Huygen appeared in the final episode of that show where Klaus and Danny complained to him about the inaccuracies in his gnome books.
Oh.
It's a little bit of a meta thing.
Wow.
So back to David the Gnome, which is actually officially called The World of David the Gnome.
Okay.
I was shocked to learn that Christopher Plummer is the narrator of David the Gnome.
Huh.
And that Tom Bosley is David the Gnome.
Mr. C?
Yes! I had no idea.
Wow.
And also the sheriff in Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
This guy is all over my life in ways that I didn't even expect.
I have an unusual fondness for Tom Bosley. I watched a lot of Happy Days growing up, where he was Richie Cunningham's father.
Yep.
And, sort of accidentally fathered Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yes.
Right? Like, he was a father figure.
I would say he's kind of a de facto father. I wouldn't say he accidentally fathered him. That makes it sound like...
Oh, yeah. Like,
Like
They
he's
did a
actually his
paternity
biological
test.
father. And
Yeah. Right.
But no, he was a father figure.
He was a
to
father
Arthur,
figure
Arthur Fonzarelli.
who
Yeah.
needed a role model.
Yes.
And Mr. C could
Yeah.
be that for him. I like Tom Bosley quite a bit.
do too.
I'm pleased to find out he's David the Gnome for some reason.
so was
That's
I.
impactful to me.
So what, William? So was I. When I read it, I like couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like a punch, a pleasant punch.
Yeah. You know who else I like?
Who?
The dad from the Wonder Years.
So do I.
Right? Like there's a stern, gruff quality to him, but I also remember him being like a softie
Yeah.
a lot, and that always was meaningful to me.
Yeah. Do you remember? I shouldn't even say it.
What?
How can I do this as a blind item?
What? What?
Do you know what a blind item is?
It's like a rumor thing, like
Yeah,
rumors, scandals about celebrities.
Yes.
They'll be like, a certain '90s pop sensation was seen farting in the hot tub.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The dad from the Wonder Years had a long-term affair with this woman who played a high fashion mogul on a popular late 90s, early 2000s sitcom.
I think you need to say it.
Should I? I guess I should. I don't know. Rumor has it that guy whose name I'm blanking on right now, it's Dan something, the dad from the Wonder Years,
yeah.
and Wendy Malick had a long-term affair.
Oh no, I can't imagine
No,
what fallout could possibly be triggered from this dad of the
No.
Wonder Years whose name we don't know and whoever Wendy Malick is having a relationship. How do you think that this is going to have ramifications?
No, but I think it's real. It's
Who's
real
at risk?
because people we know have seen them out and about, so I know that it's real.
Who do we know?
No, this is another blind item. A certain family member of ours who sucks, who we never speak to anymore, who has seen them out and about in a northeastern hamlet that we love.
What? What?
Yes.
Dennings? You know what I'm talking
Yes,
about? The kid who
yes.
sat on the whoopee cushion?
Yes.
He saw?
Yes.
He saw them? Why?
Yes.
Why?
It's like known in that area.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, I hope
That's the only reason I'm baiting around it, because it's not just a rumor. It's pretty much true.
if you got anything out of the last 3 minutes, email us.
I apologize for that.
gttpod@gmail.com.
But yes, I do still love that father from the Wonder Years. And yeah, that's something.
He was also scary on an episode of Smallville. He had the power of fire, and when he lost his temper, he set the boys' locker room aflame.
I could see that. He sometimes had a temper on the Wonder Years.
I'm pretty sure he destroyed himself.
You can't think of who Wendy Malick is? On Just Shoot Me, she was like the boss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was with... Okay, gotcha. All right. So Wonder Years was with Just Shoot
Hot
Me.
couple. Hot couple.
Oh, yeah. Emphasis on hot. I think on Smallville, he exploded himself with his own rage fire. I'm pretty sure. I think that Superman had to be like, well, he's going down. I think he just like protected other people and let the dad from the Wonder Years explode.
Wow.
I think so.
You let him just burn himself out.
Way to go, Superman.
Yeah. Yikes.
His blood's on your hands.
Well, anyway, Tom Bosley.
Yeah, back to Tom Bosley.
Tom Bosley. Love him.
Yeah.
This is a wholesome dad. I don't know about any of his affairs. Not that
Yet.
they're not out there, because exactly, do we ever really know anybody?
Yeah.
So I watched the first episode.
And I heard that in the clubs in LA,
Yeah.
they don't call him Mr. C, they call him Mr. D.
Ew. Want to think about this guy's D?
I heard he doesn't
It
have
was a little
one.
bit more abstract.
He's just
with-
Tom Bosley. He doesn't have anything. He's fine. He's fine.
All right, good. Okay. Do you mean the clubs in Cabot Cove?
Yeah.
Which are
all
just
the hot
like
clubs.
a diner?
Yeah, like an upscale kind of diner.
Yeah,
White
a supper
tablecloths. A supper club.
Yeah.
I heard in the supper clubs at Cabot Cove, he's known as Mr. D.
Yeah.
You still wanted it to conclude that way?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
All right.
I don't know what you want.
So here's what happens in David the Gnome. It is lovely.
Finally.
But also, there are a couple of things actually talking about Mr. D.
Oh, no.
There's something that absolutely shocked me.
What?
I'll be getting there. Okay. It starts out is lovely. It is beautifully painted vistas of the woods, while Christopher Plummer talks about the beauty of nature and how much the gnomes who live in it enjoy it. He says that the trees are their skyscrapers, and then that rolls into talking about actual skyscrapers and talks some very gentle crap about cities over actual footage of cities, which I was surprised by. It switches to like video footage. And I was
Live
like,
footage? Wow.
yeah, huh.
Weird.
And just kind of like, oh, you know, not terrible, not being like, oh, they're horrible, but he's like, they can be a little bit noisy and busy for some. But here in the forest, we just listen to the gentle chittering of the squirrels and, you know, whatever. He says, come with me to the world of the gnome. Gnomes have a language all their own, but with a little bit of magic from one very special gnome named David, we'll be able to understand them. What, you've never seen a gnome? Well, they're all around us. Just take a closer look. Let me show you a secret world, the stuff that dreams are made of.
That's sweet.
It's very sweet. It's
gentle.
Very lovely, very gentle. I can see why I loved this as a kid. I loved it now. So the camera starts doing like a POV thing. So it's like we are with the camera entering the base of a tree, up some stairs, into a house while the nice warm voiceover is happening.
Sounds like Evil Dead.
Kind of. And as it ends, we hear a woman's voice say, David, we have company, or whatever. And he's like, Tom Bosley's like, come in, come in. We're not very formal here. This is the first thing I was shocked by. Our first introduction to David is him in the bathtub, not as obscured by bubbles as you might expect.
What do you mean?
He's in the bath and he's showing quite a lot. I am now showing William a picture that I've screenshotted from the YouTube video I was watching. Links in the show notes. You see his little tummy, full legs and upper thighs. He's soaping up. It is stopping just short of his D. His Mr. D.
This is unreasonable.
I couldn't believe it.
Yes. He also, I know that he invited us in, but he has a sort of caught expression on his face. Take a look at his expression. I know it's hard to take away from the fact that I've never seen
You see the round of his rump.
You see, you're right. You start to see the side. You start to see some side ass.
Yeah.
And I really don't like that his like knees are sticking up out of the water. I don't like seeing.
You see, honestly,
David the Gnome's thighs.
They're cutting it off just like where he'd be wearing a bikini.
This is does he wear a bikini? Do we know that?
No.
This is crazy.
It's absolutely nuts.
Still wears his long pointy hat in the tub.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
What's he hiding?
I don't know if we ever seen him without his hat. Maybe for a sec.
So he invited us.
Come in. We're not very formal here.
I just read your notes where in all caps above this picture it says he's in the bath and showing a lot.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
I'm gonna tell a story about the head kabooter pop.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a day. I'm sure I've told this story somewhere. It's not the chillest story to be telling about someone, but well, he's passed, so he can't.
What's he gonna do?
He can't get mad at me.
Yeah.
All right. We still lived at home. I needed to ask him a question or something, and I knew that he was in the bedroom.
I know all about this.
So I knocked on the door.
From you telling, not that I experienced it, thank God.
I knocked on the door, and he goes, huh? I was like, Dad, I got to ask you a question. He goes, oh, come in, Bill. And he called me Bill.
Yeah.
And I opened the door, and he was naked from the shower, toweling himself off. And I went, what? What are you doing? And he went, what? Well, we're both guys. And I was like, why do you think I knocked? I'm like, the knock is not just for your comfort. It's for my safety.
Yeah, because I don't want to walk into something.
Yes, I didn't want to walk into that room, Dad.
Yeah.
It's like the knock is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
It should protect the one inside the room, but it should also protect the one outside the room who doesn't know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
This is when you were an adult, too, by the way. Yes.
Yeah. But David the Gnome welcoming us into his home.
Come in. We're not very formal here.
Yeah, I should say not.
I couldn't believe it. a children's show. So he just keeps soaping up as he welcomes us. And he says that he has some things he's been meaning to talk to us about, like us fucking up the air quality and shooting guns at our animals. At his animals.
He says the word guns
Yes.
while he's soaping himself.
While he's soaping himself. This show is way more adult than I expected. There is way more body horror. And I'm not just talking about David the Gnome taking a bath. There are guns. David the Gnome is a doctor, and we're going to be following him on some visits.
What are you talking about?
William, this could take the whole episode.
I'm prepared.
Okay. I think it should.
I'm prepared. All right.
All right. Why don't we take a little break?
Let's talk about it. I know. I need to like calm down.
William, there's something I can't wait to tell you. All right, hold on.
Wow, there's something even bigger than him being naked in the bathtub when you meet him.
There is. Okay. All right, first, we got to do it. Let me tell you about patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is our Patreon. You likely know what Patreon is. This is where you can go if you would like to help support the show, which is greatly appreciated by us. We have a whole second weekly podcast called The Netherworld Dispatch that comes out every Monday. And if you join us over on Patreon at our Demon tier, that is our highest tier, the $13 tier, you can get episodes of The Netherworld Dispatch every single Monday. And then we have a few other tiers that you can check out where you can get episodes every other week or once a month. You can choose whatever works best for your budget and your lifestyle. We also have ad-free episodes of Guide to the Unknown that you can get if you join the Ghost tier. We have commentary tracks for all the Blair Witch movies, all the Scream movies, all the Twilight movies. We have a Discord that you can join with really awesome people talking every day about just life stuff, about movies they like, TV shows, podcasts. It all kicks complete ass, and that is on patreon.com/GTTUpod. Thank you so incredibly much to everybody who's there already.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very, very much. I feel so distracted. I feel outside myself.
Yeah.
Now, we also enjoy getting reviews from people on Apple Podcasts. We love seeing the stars increase on Spotify. I've got a lovely review for us here from a dear friend who's often in our live streams when we live stream, Rogue Foe.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Titled Creepy Subjects, Comedy Format. I listen to this while I ink draw, and I have to stop periodically because I'm shaking from laughter.
They've sent us an ink drawing. They're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Yes.
But I love the idea of like a squiggle vision ink drawing because we've ruined it. The host sibling chemistry is hilarious. Sometimes they seem to snatch the thoughts and puns out of my head. Guide to the Unknown has become a comfort listen over the past few years. I look forward to each week's new episode. Thank you, Kristen and Will. 5 stars.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice. Thank you to everybody who leaves us a review. If you haven't done that yet, we would love it if you did. Will might read it on one of our episodes. Anything you can do to help tell people about Guides to the Unknown, we appreciate so much. So if you like the show, maybe share about it on your Instagram stories, text a friend about it, whatever. We appreciate it. But really just thank you for listening and glad you enjoy the show.
Thank you all so much. All right.
Yeah.
We got to get back. I don't know what Kristen's alluding to. I don't know what could top the bathtub. But we'll get to that after one more commercial break. Okay, talk to me. What'd you see? What did you see? What did David the Gnome show you? Aside from how appropriate is the title of this show? Teeny Little Weenies. It's David the Gnome in at least they drew the bathwater opaque.
Seriously, yeah, there aren't any opalescent bubbles.
How is it not full of bubbles, that tub? I've never seen a depiction of someone in the bath without the water just being completely covered by bubbles to obscure as much as possible.
Well, he's moving and grooving because he's soaping himself. I caught it when the bubbles are at their lowest.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
You freeze framed.
Yes.
Frame by frame.
Yes, I did. There are times when they're a little bit more abundant on his body.
Very well.
But I mean, honestly, it's not like I had to go frame by frame. I happened to pause and I was like, great, this is the one.
Yeah, I gotcha. This is the one. This is definitely, by the way, the show logo. There's no way that David the Gnome's not just in our cover art.
It's so crazy.
His knees sticking up out of that water. That's some wild stuff.
Oh, it's absolutely nuts.
I would argue unacceptable. By today's standards, I don't think that that's acceptable.
So much in this is unacceptable. I can't believe it, William. And I loved it.
This is why there were only 26 episodes.
Yeah, probably.
Someone came down to the basement where some creep was making David the Gnome and went, "Whoa, whoa!
What's going on down here?
Cease all production."
Yeah, this isn't right.
This ain't right.
So yeah, he's like, oh, I wanted to talk to you. You're messing up the air with your smog and shooting your guns at our animals. And he's like, but I know it's not your fault. You're too young. But perhaps if our kinds get to know each other, some of our respect for the creatures and our beautiful planet can rub off on your kind. Why, that's why I invited you here today. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm sensing where you're leading to, but
Yeah.
you go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Give your presentation.
Well, I mean, there are a few things, but one of the things I wanted to say is that he invited us.
Yes. He
Here.
knew.
He knew we were coming, and yet he was in the tub
He was in the tub.
when we arrived.
And still invited us in.
Yeah.
He knew. He knew.
This was all part of his plan.
Hashtag he knew. With a photo of David the Gnome in the bath. He knew.
He knew. What the hell? Talk about informal.
I know.
Crazy. So during this talk, his wife comes in. We find out her name is Linda, and gives him a towel as he gets out. Thank God.
Yeah.
It seems almost like simultaneous to me, this dance. Thank God she gave him the towel as he was getting
Oh,
out.
like he was just getting out already and she thankfully came in at the
Am I
right
putting
time.
mustard on it right now? I might be.
Why does he need her to bring him his towel?
I don't know. They seem to have...
Maybe he prefers to air dry. And so she makes sure to get the towel.
Probably. She was like, you know what? Let me run a little interference here. He's also acknowledging you're young, by the way. He says, you're young. I know this isn't all your fault. Why have you invited this young person in while you're taking a bath? Anyway, so his wife comes in to give him a towel. This is where he explained a bunch of gnome facts, where he says that they are 6 inches high, 11 ounces. He says that
Here's my height. It's nice to meet you. Here's my height and weight.
as I now dab off.
This is crazy.
He explains that there are a bunch of different kinds of gnomes. There are forest gnomes, dune gnomes, house gnomes, and Siberian gnomes, which are rare. He says that his wife, Lisa, is 399 years old. Nowhere on his age. And he has kids and tons of grandkids. He says gnomes only have kids once, and they're always twins.
Oh.
So just fun gnome facts.
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the math here. Hold on.
Sure.
They only have kids once and they're always twins. So
Yeah.
he has 2 kids.
Yes. And then...
They each then had kids.
Right.
But they only did it once and they were twins.
Yeah.
So he has 4 grandkids.
Yeah.
Not hundreds.
No, I didn't say he has hundreds.
What did he say? He said
I said he has tons of grandkids.
4.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
The math does not check
I
out.
think he did say tons of grandkids.
Something's weird.
Yeah, this is all so weird. Okay, so now we're getting to the
Gnome
other.
biology.
This
It's like
is-
trying to chart the growth of a xenomorph where it's like, well, what's the life cycle really with all these sequels?
Right.
David the Gnome he's sort of giving us information, but it's not really enough. It's like watching
Right.
Prometheus all over again.
I've never seen Prometheus.
They sort of explain it, but not real. I mean, what were they thinking?
Okay, here is the second moment that really knocked my socks off.
Okay.
So he's explaining gnomes to us, gnome life, what his house is like. He says they have a watchman cricket named Corky. They walk by, they have a cricket named Corky. I guess it's like their bodyguard or whatever. And they also live with mice. We saw these briefly before. We kind of followed for a minute Linda. Oh no, maybe I wrote down Lisa. I'm sorry. So I guess her name is Lisa. We followed Lisa for a minute and she was kind of like tending to the mice, like tucking them in and stuff. And he says, oh, I forgot to clean out the mouse basket.
Oh, no.
You know where this is going.
Oh, no. It
And-
could be one of 2 things, actually.
What do you think?
The mouse basket, my instant thought was that it's like a kitty litter.
Uh-huh.
Like he's got like a big sack of rat shit he's got to move.
Yeah.
But then I also thought about what mice do is they catch things and kill them. Is it a kill room of mice finds?
I'm happy to tell you it's the first.
Okay.
It's the former.
So you're watching this dude lug mouse shit?
Oh, yeah. and you see it. And I've got a picture to show you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so by the way, he's been telling us all this. He sits down at the dinner table and then he goes, "Oh, I forgot to clean the mouse basket." And so he springs up from the dinner table and goes and picks up a basket with a bunch of mouse shit in it and gets up to I guess put it in what I suppose is their toilet. He removes, he goes to what looks almost like a throne. It's honestly beautiful. Here, go ahead, William. Take a look at this still.
What's going on here? This is weird. This is really weird. It's getting weirder the more I think about it and stare at it. Mm-hmm. All right. For the listening audience, send me these pictures because I'm going to have to put them in the video version. They're too... You can't
They're
not.
too good.
They're too good. David the Gnome, thankfully fully dressed,
Yeah.
is holding
For now.
is holding a wicker basket full of mouse shit.
Yeah.
Which is size perspective wise larger for him.
Yes.
Right? They're big.
They're big.
They're pretty big.
Because the mice are like the same size as them, by the way.
Maybe like palm sized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is dumping this basket of mouse shit into, yes, you are right. It looks like an Aztec throne.
Uh-huh.
I do think I see a Spanish cross at the top.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, otherwise it looks like it's gilded with jewels and rubies and gold. It has arms.
Yes.
It's like an arm throne, like an armchair throne. I've
Yeah.
never seen a toilet with arms.
No.
Is this a toilet or is he loading poop into a chair?
It's never explained, but here's what I think. So he walks over to this thing. He goes, "Oh, I forgot to, empty the mouse basket or whatever." He walks over to this throne-looking thing, removes what is basically a pot lid.
Oh, that came off the throne? I thought that
Yes.
came off the basket.
Nope. He takes that off the throne,
What?
pours in these mouse droppings, and then goes back into the other room. I don't think this thing flushes. So, what's the point of this even? I think he has just consolidated all the shit in the house. Because
Yeah.
I think this is essentially an indoor outhouse
Yes.
that they are going to have to empty outside at some point. And that pot lid is just keeping a lid on all the excrement in their home.
The pot lid is not a stylistic match for the throne.
No, it's not. It literally just looks like a pot lid. Everything else about the throne, I think it's made of wood, but inlaid with jewels and carved beautifully. But then there's just like a ceramic pot lid.
A ceramic white pot lid.
Yeah.
That covers where he dumps the mouse basket contents.
Uh-huh.
The world of David the Gnome is so unlike ours.
Yeah.
It's really hard to understand, but this is their culture.
Right. Of course. We must respect it.
We must. So he also taught mice how to crap in one basket,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point.
which is pretty unique.
It is. But then if you're teaching them to crap in a basket, why not just teach them to crap on that toilet if you're just going to pour it into the toilet anyway?
You've got a point. I'll tell you what, I have another photo to put into the video version of the show. Kristen and I recently in our travels found ourselves in the cozy hamlet of Sleepy Hollow,
Oh, yeah.
where we saw what was a big garbage can, a barrel. It was a wooden barrel.
Right.
Right? But the town has cutely used hollowed out a hole at the top of the wooden barrel, like standing up, where you could use it as a garbage can.
Yeah.
Throw your garbage inside there. It's cute. Rather than having like a steel garbage can on the street, it's a big wooden barrel. Fun. But curiously, they've invented something in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Ichabod Crane would be proud, the old schoolmaster. They've invented a lid for a garbage can, an itsy bitsy lid on a
Yeah.
hinge that comes down to close the top of the hole. And when you lift the lid, it looks identical to a toilet.
It's like a wooden toilet.
And I was shocked that I was basically pointing and sputtering like Abbott and Costello was going like, because I couldn't get the word out. The garbage cans look like toilets. They look like big barrel-sized outside toilets, like Ichabod Crane would just sit with his legs crossed.
Yeah.
The old schoolmaster out near the lake, out
Right.
near the covered bridge. Kristen, you took so long to realize that
I
it resembled
know.
a toilet, which is unusual for
It's
you.
like when true love is right in front of you and you're just not seeing it.
Yes. But then Kristen did wrap her arm around it.
Well, I hovered it above it. I didn't actually touch it.
a little hover hand.
Yeah.
She was a little nervous, but as if embracing an old friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a picture of Kristen hugging the outdoor Sleepy Hollow toilet cans.
Of course.
Toilet barrels. The world of David the Gnome. Now, part of the reason I brought that up, one, and it's an excuse to talk about the toilet barrels at Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
The other is that I think the entire effort here of David the Gnome is to take something otherwise
Crude.
a toilet,
Yeah.
and make it look like some sort of a fancy antique. But when you're
Sure.
dumping a basket of mouse shit into it, you have eliminated all your efforts to dress it up.
Of course you have. And also, one could say, why not just not have a little toilet aside in the episode? You know? That's
Yes.
also an option.
In that episode or this one?
In that episode.
Yes, yes.
How am I going to ignore it for this one?
I could
There's
talk
no
about
way.
these toilets for the rest of the show.
Absolutely. I was beside myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely beside myself. So that done.
Yes.
Mouse bucket emptied or basket emptied. He sits down to dinner and he's recounting his stories about work. So David is a doctor who travels by fox and by goose to his animal
Is one the
patients.
subway and the other is like a car?
Oh, they just show
One's an
him-
airplane. A goose is like an airplane.
True.
For a gnome.
It seems like I don't know. He travels by a bunch of different animals. He talks about traveling by fox and by goose for these work things. It may have just been for these specific instances of needing to help these animals. He also later talks about how he and Lisa love to travel, and they talk about some different means of transportation then. But
This is a show. It's just them sitting around talking to me. Just
yes, basically, he's just explaining his life. But you know, this could be the intro. I only watched the first episode.
Yeah, true. Mhm.
Like I looked at the episode names later for things, and like there was one called The Little Witch. Enticed by that.
Cool.
You
Yeah,
know, so
sure.
there's other stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, he's also smoking an enormous pipe. While
Really?
he's telling these stories.
Oh, wow.
Something else that would not, I think, be in a
No, I
children's
don't
show
think so.
today. The pipe is like 3/4 the length of his body.
oh wow.
Yeah. And just like puffs of smoke coming out of it like the whole time. Very cozy.
So it's a 4-inch long pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. It like curves down, then comes back up. It looks like a bassoon or an oboe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's great. So he hypnotizes his animal patients so that they don't have pain when he works on them.
What?
So the first animal we see him work on, he goes to work on a goat who has swallowed some sort of like curved piece of metal, and he brings out a little pocket watch and hypnotizes the goat so it conks out so it won't feel pain when he makes an incision on the goat that we watch.
No way. No way, man. You watch David the Gnome cut into a goat?
Yes. No blood or anything, but scalpel out, line down goat.
Do you see the scalpel go
Yeah.
into the goat?
Yep.
What is happening? This was the 80s?
Yeah.
This wasn't. Listen.
Crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Crazy. Now it is just a black line down. It's not anything more than that, but still I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Holy crap. Also, even before that, so he's like,
Crazy.
just again with just like David's comfort with his body. Actually, I kind of wrote down.
What did he do
almost-
around the goat?
I kind of wrote down like what you were talking about with like knocking being for your comfort as well as Dad's before.
okay, yeah.
So David is telling us the story, and we're watching the story of him working on the goat. He takes off his gnome clothes before he's going to work on the goat, and it's clear that he has some sort of like, I guess, scrubs under his clothes. However, they're just like a shade or two off from his body color. So like, if you blur your eyes, it looks like he just took off his clothes.
What?
And so it's just, I don't have any more pictures or anything.
Thank God.
And it's not made abundantly clear what happened. He takes off his like colorful gnome clothes, and what's underneath is just sort of like a dingy beige. There's just something odd going on. He's not giving off like a menacing vibe. I think it's just somebody who lives in the natural world and isn't thinking about your comfort with their body.
How far-
He just needs to give a little heads up. Hey, I'm not scrubbing up. I'm actually scrubbing down.
Of all the
I've got
things-
something on under here,
Right.
but I'm about to take off my clothes, and I do have something on underneath. But no, he just zoop, and now there's something pale underneath.
Without explaining it, that's very odd.
Yeah.
I have confusion. Is that a way
I
that
have
humans describe
confusion.
themselves ever?
could.
Zach Bacon's being like, I feel rage.
Yeah.
I feel confusion because David the Gnome, you've already described, just like is like, I've never seen a show where a character goes, oh, I forgot to do something disturbing and gross. Follow me.
Right.
And empties the mouse basket.
Yeah.
There are at least 4 things that seem like clean lifts out of the show so far.
Yeah.
That it didn't need to be there. It's weird to spend time on, I gotta empty the mouse basket, but not have him say one line where he's like, I always wear clean scrubs
Yes.
under my traveling clothes, right? Because that you could I can see already like some creative somewhere being like, well, we got to explain a few things because if David the Gnome's traveling by goose,
Right.
he's going to be covered in dust and burr.
Dander.
And that's not safe for surgery. So how about this? Those are his traveling clothes. He's got a clean suit on underneath.
Absolutely.
Give David the Gnome the line then. Otherwise, I would say most people are not going to think about the cleanliness of David the Gnome's clothes as he does outside woodland surgery on a goat.
No.
Just have him do it and not disrobe to an ambiguously colored bodysuit. Remember when George
Shocking.
went streaking at the Yankees
Yeah,
game?
it's kind of like that.
But he was
It's
embarrassed.
like a nude colored body stocking.
They called him bodysuit man.
Yeah.
And they liked it.
loved
They
it.
weren't mad at him for streaking because he wasn't technically nude.
Right.
David the Gnome. Something's going on here. Something weird.
It's very odd.
Someone put a lot of effort into thinking of explaining things that didn't need explaining. Fine, he lives with mice. I don't get that he has a bodyguard cricket, or I don't get any of that.
No.
But I'll accept it rather than be like, but where are the mice shitting?
Right.
This show didn't explain where the mouse shit goes.
No, it's completely unnecessary.
Do you think an executive was like, you've got to explain where the poop is? The kids are going to wonder where the poop went.
I don't know how they came to that decision, but thank God that they did.
For our sake.
I was, bam, wham! I'm thrown by all these stuff. When I was
I
watching
would say
this,
the best application of the mouse poop basket, all of these things, the best application of any of these things, it had to wait 40 years for us to talk about.
yeah,
Until now, these things have been superfluous.
they've been wasted
But now-
until this moment.
They're quite essential and enjoyable.
Oh God, I was thrilled. So he's able to remove this piece of metal that the goat ate, and so that's great.
Any hint of what it was?
I don't remember. It was just kind of like, oh, we took it out because
Just
goats,
some metal?
remember, goats just eat like tin cans and shit or whatever.
I know, but in the struggle, the push-pull between city life and forest people, I like the idea of like,
Yeah,
the thing that we're solving is a man-made thing that
Yeah,
a goat
right.
ate. But I was wondering if it was like he ate,
I don't think they really underlined it like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
not
not
really.
like a used hypodermic needle.
No.
right.
Yeah, no, it's just like it was like a piece of wire or a piece of metal or something.
Okay.
This is another thing where I was like, God, this is kind of a lot. He also talks about helping a badger who walked into a stick with his eye and could lose his sight, and they show the badger do it. Now it's a cartoon, obviously, so it's not like it's like so gory or anything. But they show the badger like dum 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 and walk into a stick with his eye, like bonk a stick into his eye.
Do you
And I was
see like is it
"Geez."
like a sharp stick?
Yeah.
Do you see penetration? Stick go into the eye, or is it more like Homer Simpson stepping on a rake?
Somewhere in between.
Okay.
I would say.
All right.
A little much. It's not a far away shot, but it's also a somewhat crude cartoon, so it's not like it's like crazy gory or anything. But I was like, God,
This is weird.
I don't know if we needed that. And I was thinking, because I was like, God, this is a lot. But I was thinking, maybe I'm not giving kids enough credit because I loved it. You know what I mean? Like I watched it and I was fine. And
Are you?
Well, that's a good point. That's a great point.
Look at where it's brought you.
That's true.
Look at the trajectory of all things.
Look what it hath wrought.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think listen, I understand all the arguments of like kids today are too pampered.
Yeah, I'm on
but,
like 8,000 medications, therapy,
Yeah, exactly.
all kinds of stuff. Who knows?
It all could have started with David the Gnome. So like, listen, you got to let the old ways die. I'm sorry.
That's true.
I wish for a better future where my children don't see a badger get impaled with a stick or greet David the Gnome with his thighs poking up out of his bathtub water as he
soaps
welcomes you
himself.
in.
Yeah.
When he knew you were coming over. It's okay to let this go. It's okay to not be like, I saw it, you must see it.
It's fine. It's true. And David, as he's telling the story, says, at first the situation looked pretty hopeless. God! Now David uses acupuncture, because he's also an acupuncturist, on the badger to help him drift off to sleep so he can operate on the badger's eye to get the splinter out that's in there. He also, I forgot to mention, he has 2 gnome friends who help him with these operations. They don't explain them. They're just kind of there for both of these surgeries. I assume later we learn their names and stuff. But they like can't deal with this badger surgery. They're there during the goat and they're just like, oh, good job, David, or whatever. They're just 2 little simps. During this, they're like, oh God, because David is making an incision in the badger's eye. They don't show us this. Making an incision in order to take the splinter out, and then stitching the badger's eye back up. The eye, not the eyelid. By the way, I don't think this is how these things work. But ew, also a lot for a kid.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
It's just very much.
It's just a lot. I'm sorry. It's just not necessary.
An incision into the eye he's talking about in voiceover to the children watching this.
What is the purpose of this? Is it like, listen, there are things in life that like surgeries and accidents and things, these things do happen.
I don't think that there's actually...
I've so far been relatively content to be like, well, go ahead. I'm not going to ignore these things don't exist, but there's really no need to present to the kids cutting open an eyeball because you could get a splinter in your eye. We'll worry about that if it happens.
Yeah.
I don't need a gnome to desensitize them to every conceivable piece of body horror, every awful thing that could happen to you. I don't need that to be manifest to show them. A gnome, it can be solved.
Yeah. I don't think that there's a lesson in this stuff. I think it's just entertainment.
It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, I really do. I think it's just David interacts with animals, and how does he do that? He's a doctor. You know, I really think that's all there is to it. And I would think that acupuncture and hypnosis go over kids' heads, but I would think that for the writers, it's like he works in the natural ways. He's working with the body systems.
Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing, because I agree with you. I think acupuncture is so in the weeds.
Yeah.
As a thing, I would argue that probably most people think of it as like a hooey kind of concept.
Right.
Now, I do understand that it actually does have like genuine applications that can be quite beneficial, right?
Right. Yeah.
You've
Yes.
done acupuncture,
Yes.
right? Gotten acupuncture? Mm-hmm. Have you ever done acupuncture?
I haven't, no.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah, to have a character on TV who's an acupuncturist in a kids show that does all the thought. That's the thing to me, is like I'm sensing all the thought that went into this, which is why it's so baffling that the choices are made at all, because they weren't thoughtlessly done. They were very intentionally done, and they're all so insane. I have to empty the mouse basket.
Show.
You really didn't need to explain that mice shit and the shit goes somewhere, and how does David the Gnome handle that?
Yeah, it goes into the pot that's inlaid in your elaborate wooden armchair.
Yeah, it goes to the old Aztec pot.
Yeah.
That everybody keeps.
Right. It's so weird. So, you know, he's able to save that badger, and the badger's wife comes in and is very grateful, and that's the end of that story.
How does he get paid? Did they talk about any monetary system?
They don't.
That's like a big missing one.
Yeah, they
no
don't.
one asked that question.
Probably an
They should've.
acorns.
Probably an acorns.
Maybe.
Yeah. You ever wear an acorn hat? Is that a thing?
I think he's too big for that. If he's 6 inches tall,
Yeah, I suppose so.
probably.
Okay.
I don't know. He might use them as a little drink.
Oh, very
little
good.
Drinking thing.
Has a little handle.
Yeah. So at the end of dinner, it's at the end of dinner that he pulls out his pipe. I don't think he's smoking the pipe the whole time. He is now talking about the different ways he enjoys traveling. He says it's always pleasant flying by pheasant. And they show him in a little basket around a pheasant's neck being flown.
Oh, so you can't just hold on to the bird.
No, sometimes he does. They show him holding on to a goose, but for pheasant, he's in a basket.
How do you get the basket around the neck?
I guess the pheasant just lets him.
They ask some questions and not others. Okay.
That's true. Has some other little rhymes. The pheasant one is the best one. Now here is where it ends on not quite ends, but it gives you a little intrigue. He says that sometimes traveling in the forest is dangerous, though, because of, quote, the ugly and nasty trolls. Their idea of fun is picking on everyone else in the forest and generally creating a ruckus. Fortunately, they are also the stupidest creatures in the world, so it's easy to fool them. And then they show a troll going, "You can't fool me, I'll get you next time." Now back to David. The trolls are smelly and hairy. They have long arms, short legs, and awful table manners. Has he had them to dinner?
Yeah, did he invite them over?
I don't know. He says that the worst of the trolls are Pit, Pat, Pot, and their boss, Holler, who they show sitting with this weird device that's like a wheel with a crank, and he goes, "I'll tie David to this wheel and spin him."
Whoa! That's just like an aside.
Yeah.
Like a Family Guy cutaway. Like a
Yeah.
I'll tie David. I'll spin him.
Yeah.
To what end?
I don't know. I guess I would say that it's almost like
I'll spin you.
it would hurt.
It's weird as a threat.
Yeah, it is. I don't know, almost like a water wheel or something, but with a crank. We're just gonna spin him and spin him and spin him. I don't know.
I'm gonna spin you, you little shit.
He wouldn't like it. But David says that they're safe in their gnome home, and every night they read a chapter from a book together, and then they say the word Slitzweiss, which is the only gnome word humans are allowed to know. Then they close themselves up in a little bed in a cabinet, and we back out of their home in the tree, POV style, while we hear, "You know where to find us now, where the innocent forest children play under a leafy bough. You'll find us if you're friendly and share our point of view. But even if nobody sees us, we'll always see you."
Oh.
Uh-huh. And that's the end of David the Gnome.
Back out a little further, and there's a lumberjack eyeing up that tree.
Yeah, right.
With a shiny blade over his shoulder.
I loved it.
Did you?
It was so weird. It was very fun to watch.
It's disturbing.
Yeah. It was a fun watch,
I really
though.
didn't expect it to be so disturbing.
I wasn't expecting it at all, especially in the beginning with just like Christopher Plummer talking so pleasantly and everything. I was like, this is so lovely and beautiful and relaxing. The second I saw those thighs in the water, I was like, whoa. And then it just kept coming.
The surgery
Yeah.
in a kid's show.
Yeah. Feeling with his little gnome hands on a goat belly for where the piece of
I don't like
wire
it.
was. It was really weird.
I don't like it.
That old part I didn't like, but I would say overall my experience was enjoyable.
You didn't watch more?
No.
What do you think? Like, what if episode 2 starts with him being like, "Come in," and he's on the toilet? You know, like, what if it always starts with some bodily function thing going on?
I was so surprised.
I'm surprised too. David the Gnome.
Yeah.
David the Gnome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite the little guy.
Yeah, hell of a little guy.
Yeah.
He's really got an interesting life.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna reboot David the Gnome ever?
There's no indication of that.
No indication. I'm just saying, like, it is a known property. People are property crazy.
I don't think so.
No. Imagine the goat surgery with like modern CG.
There's no whiff of it whatsoever. Nobody's. I doubt it.
All right.
But he's there. I mean, it looks like all of the episodes are on YouTube.
He's there waiting for you.
Yeah.
On YouTube and in the woods, and he can see you.
Yeah, even if you can't see him, he can see you.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, teeny little weenies.
Yeah.
Teeny little weenies.
Talk about teeny little weenies.
We did it. Just like a couple of like weird racist gnomes, and then David the Gnome himself, who's like, Can I tell you about Snap, Crackle, and Pop real quick? I won't even look at my notes.
Sure.
Because Snap, Crackle, and Pop were on the list of gnomes.
Yeah.
The mascots from Rice Krispies. Mm-hmm. And there's really nothing to say about them.
Yeah.
At all, except there is sort of a mystery. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what it was. So Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Those are the 3 gnomes. One is named Snap. He was the original.
Yeah.
It was originally just Snap. And then eventually Crackle and Pop were added because it's the sound the cereal makes when milk touches it. Puffed rice cereal. So it makes that noise. People really like it. And they've been described as having a relationship that was, if I'm remembering correctly, again, I refuse to look at my notes now.
Of course.
Quote, like brothers.
Okay.
but they're not brothers.
Yeah.
Implied by that phrasing.
Yeah.
Right. One of them is mischievous. One of them is the leader. None of this you'd ever get from a commercial where they just are, pouring the cereal and saying, eat it up.
Yeah.
I don't know how
and like listening to the cereal or something.
I have no idea where any sort of their personality traits are on display anywhere.
Right.
But here's the mystery. It wasn't always just 3 of them.
Uh-huh.
There was a 4th.
Oh, what happened?
And he was retired. Sometime in the 50s, there were a couple of commercials that went out where it was snap, crackle, pop, and then on a spaceship came a big buff gnome named Pow.
Oh.
So named for the powerful energy you can get from this cereal, which, P.S., I don't think...
Well,
He had some energy,
sure,
but I think it's
not like
pretty
you're not gonna be, like,
negligible.
pumped up. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But he was like the pump you up. I'm Pow.
Yeah.
So named for the power of our cereal.
Yeah.
Snap, crackle, pop, and pow.
Uh-huh.
And Pow was almost immediately like he was like shown to people and then axed and never seen again.
Huh, I wonder why.
The long lost 4th.
I guess it's just not as snappy as snap, crackle, and pop.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Right.
Boom. But yeah, the long MIA 4th Rice Krispie gnome mascot.
Now,
Pow.
do you think they'll be rebooting him?
I think that he's getting a standalone movie.
Yeah.
To explain his origins.
It's about time.
Pow.
Yeah.
Long lost mascot.
Huh. Well, you really learn something new every time you listen to Guide to the Unknown.
It's true.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this journey to the land of the gnome.
Yes.
Maybe check out David the Gnome if
The
you
world
want.
of the gnome. Knock before you go in.
I don't think it's going to make a difference, but sure, give it a shot.
Recommend at least trying. Save yourself. Knock.
That's right. Go check out patreon.com/GTTUpod if you want more of the show. We got tons and tons and tons of episodes, plus all those commentaries, plus Discord. You can also follow us on social media at GTTUpod, and you can follow us individually. I am at Chillin' Kristen.
I am at the Myth Traveler. Happy 7th birthday to Guide to the Unknown.
Yes, happy 90th birthday to our dad, except not.
Well, very nearly. 90th anniversary of his existence.
Yes.
We'll view it as now.
Yeah.
And thank all of you. We'll see you again next
Yes.
week for something completely different. Who the hell knows what could possibly happen?
Totally.
We've proven that anything is possible. We make the ordinary extraordinary. On Guide to the Unknown. But until the next time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Wow.
How do you intend to travel? By goose or by fox?
I liked the little basket that was under the pheasant.
Basket sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ideal animal to travel on if you are gnome sized. What do you think?
Let me see. My first instinct was turtle.
Turtle's not, well, I don't know why.
I don't know, nice and slow and steady, although there isn't really like a...
You're not getting anywhere on time.
Yeah, and also there's not like a good flat surface.
No.
So that's not great.
Stupid.
I don't know. What was yours?
Stupid answer.
Shut up.
I have the best answer.
We'll see. What?
A duck.
Okay, why is that the best?
1, they can fly. 2, they can walk on land.
Can they fly?
Ducks?
Yeah.
Can a duck fly?
Like for long?
It's a bird. They flap their wings and they fly. Why do you think ducks can't fly?
I know that they can fly. I didn't say anything.
Why do you think ducks can't fly?
I know that they can. I already said that I know that.
What are the non-flying birds?
Penguins.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, like basically like that's it. Why
Yeah.
Why did you ask me if ducks can fly?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, my third
Can they
answer.
fly for like very long? Like, are they doing like a long
Oh,
term fly?
you're not asking if they can fly.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
asking like can they fly around the world or
Yeah,
something?
I'm saying they can't fly like for long, right? They're not like
Oh.
going to town.
What do you mean to town?
No, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
What are you talking
I don't know.
about?
I don't think they can fly very far, can they?
How, are you talking about the distance from this house to town? What's flying to town
don't
to
know.
you in
I
the
don't know
context
now.
of how far a duck
I
can
don't know
fly?
now. Now I'm lost.
Kristen and birds. There is something wrong with you when it comes to birds.
Oh, you know what? I
must
got to
be
tell you.
faced.
Something weird happened the other day.
Anyway, ducks can also swim, so it was every.
Well, I knew that.
It was everything, so it was the
Yeah.
best way to travel. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
Christ. All right, what stupid other bird thing happened to you? What happened to you?
I guess I just don't think birds can. I guess I didn't know if ducks can fly for very long. Like, I guess they can go for like a little bit, but they can't fly for like very long, right?
I bet they could fly for at least a couple hours at a clip.
Really? I guess I thought they could fly for like an hour.
That's still a pretty goddamn
It
long
is.
time to be flying.
Yeah, no, it is true. No, my phone went off in my pocket and it was a bird talking. I was like,
What?
I was like, what the hell is that noise? Like, I knew it was my phone, obviously, but I was like, what am I listening to that would be doing that? And it was, I think it was our Discord, and somebody had posted like a bird thing.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got an issue with birds.
I guess so.
I do have quick information.
Yeah.
Ducks can fly long distances without stopping. Some
okay.
species can travel more than 2,000 miles,
Oh, wow.
which is about 60 to 72 hours in the sky.
Wow.
That's it's longer than I thought.
Yeah, I thought that they can, get where they need to go, but I didn't think that they needed to go very far.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
interesting.
I guess when birds migrate, they got to be able to fly really, really far.
Yeah.
So yes, they can fly, and also they can fly very far.
So duck's pretty good.
Duck was right.
Yeah.